Fantastic Four is coming, and amongst the biggest conversations over the past 2.5 years, 3 years, ever since they made the announcements that Marvel was going to do Fantastic Four, is who's going to be in the Fantastic Four. It's been like, who's the next Batman and who's the next James Bond? It's been, who's going to be Reed Richards? Who's going to be Sue Storm? And that is the topic of today's Mint Mobile hotline question of the day. Listen, guys, if you got a topic or a question for the show and you'd like to hear your voice on our show, go ahead and call our hotline number anytime 24/7 at 951-268-4259, and maybe you'll hear your voice on our show. And today is specifically about that casting of Reed Richards. Check it out.
Hello, John and crew. This is Chris from Palmdale, California. So Deadline just recently reported that Marvel is apparently eyeing or is in talks with Pedro Pascal to play Reed Richards in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. Now, as amazing as an actor as he is, well, I'd love to hear you guys' thoughts on him possibly playing the part of Reed Richards in the upcoming Fantastic Four movie. Thanks. Bring on the filthy.
All right, Chris, thanks a lot for calling that in, man. And listen, there have been a lot of names been thrown around. For a little while was all the rumor, all the buzzing was that dude from You, whatever his name was. And he looked good. He looked good. He's a good actor. That's fine. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Actually.
Then you had the old Adam Driver was a name that was being thrown around a lot. Now, yesterday, we started seeing some internet rumblings that they might be looking at Pedro Pascal. 9 times out of 10 that these internet rumblings happen, nothing comes of it. And that's why I always say, whenever I see these rumblings, I keep my eye on the major trades, because if it's true and real, it's going to pop up there. Well, now all of them, Hollywood Reporter, Variety, Deadline, The Wrap, everyone has reported that they've also confirmed with their sources, with our forces,
with our
military arm of Variety, have confirmed with their sources that this is indeed true. Pedro Pascal is now, they're in the final stages. They're now negotiating terms of a contract and trying to work out to see if they can make the scheduling work, because Pedro Pascal's a busy guy, but it looks like Pedro Pascal is going to be our Reed Richards. This comes to us from Variety, who writes this: Marvel Studios' Fantastic Four, which will bring one of the most well-known superhero teams in all of comics into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, is zeroing in on one of its main leads. Pedro Pascal is currently being eyed to play Reed Richards, a.k.a. Mr. Fantastic, a brilliant scientist who gains the ability to bend and stretch his body like rubber following exposure to gamma rays during a scientific expedition to outer space. The role would continue Pascal's hot streak of iconic characters. His career first took off with his memorable turn as Prince Oberyn Martell on the Game of Thrones, and he hit new heights when he was cast in the titular bounty hunter in The Mandalorian, the first Star Wars TV and inaugural series on Disney+. The 48-year-old actor was recently nominated for an Emmy for his performance on the ongoing HBO series The Last of Us. All right. I have liked many names that we have seen thrown around as a potential Reed Richards. I very much like the John Krasinski name. I got on board with the dude from You, again, whose names I do not remember.
Penn Badgley.
What's that?
Penn Badgley.
Ben Badgley. Thank you.
Pen with a P, like a pen.
Penn.
Yeah.
That's right. Adam Driver. I actually quite like the Adam Driver name. I've liked a lot of them, and any one of those guys, including 7 or 8 others that have been rumored to be front runners, I've liked almost all of them. It's like, yep, that one would work, and yep, that guy would work, and yep, that guy would work. One name that never came to my mind was Pedro Pascal, and I love it. I absolutely love it for 2 very important reasons. Reason number 1, he's one of the best in the world right now. He is a world-class actor. He's been nominated for the top acting prize there is in television, Emmy Best Lead Actor in a Drama for The Last of Us. He was so fucking good in that show. Mm-hmm. He's so good in that show. He's so good in everything. And his Saturday Night Live episode is still talked about all the time. Like, everybody still talks about that episode that he did. He's just absolutely phenomenal. Okay, so he's a great actor. That's always my number one thing. Whenever you're talking about casting any kind of role, my first question is, I don't give 2 shits about what height he is. I couldn't give, any sort of care about, oh, is his eye color the right color? I don't give a shit about any of that nonsense that makes zero difference. How good of an actor are you looking at? Is the actor and the performer you're looking at a world-class or a really, really solid performer? And that question is answered with yes, with Pedro Pascal. The second thing I really love about it, and this image that Jonathan has up is very appropriate right now. And not everybody's going to agree, and that's fine. I want a man playing Reed Richards, not a boy. Like, I was all for the Miles Teller Fantastic Four that they were doing. You had fantastic performers in there, but much like the Muppet Babies, I didn't really want the Fantastic Four babies. Like, the Fantastic Four are supposed to be grown-ups, right? Reed Richards should have been around long enough to become the smartest man in the world, right? Not some 28-year-old. Like, that's fine. You can tell good stories of that, but get a real grown-ass man playing the role. That's one of the reasons why I also would have been really good with John Krasinski playing it, stuff like that. I really love that you're going for somebody outside of their 30s. I think that's great, and I think that's key. And I'm super excited about that. There are so many things. Now, I've already seen it online. Since when is Reed Richards Hispanic? Or,
he's Chilean.
But
not Reed Richards.
You've seen
yeah.
those things, right?
Yeah. Seen him right here.
It's funny because I remember that same crybaby approach when they first announced him as Joel. Everybody who said it is scurried off to their little mouse holes in the role now. But let's go back in time a little bit to when they first announced that Pedro Pascal was going to be Joel. The number of YouTube videos coming out and crying and screaming, and it's like, this is ridiculous. They've lost before they've even started. This show's going to be a disaster. All this kind of stuff. What do? They made one of the greatest television shows of all time. He killed it. Nominated for the top acting prize in the world. Listen, he's a great actor. He's going to come in. He's going to embody this character. He's going to make it his own, and he's going to make it something powerful, like he has done every single fucking time he's come on screen. That's what he does. And I cannot wait. To see him in this role. Now, there is still one hitch to this. Hollywood Reporter saying the main obstacle they're still going to overcome, apparently all the contract details apparently are going to be easy. The one thing they said that might become a little bit of a hurdle is scheduling. Because Pedro Pascal has got a lot on his plate that he's already committed to. So are they going to be able to make this work in and fit with his schedule? They say it looks good, but that might be the one hitch. So if this actually ends up coming to fruition, yeah, I cannot wait, because one of the things that this tells me is that they're taking this extremely, if you're going out and getting Pedro Pascal, you're taking this extremely seriously. And I love hearing that for this movie. And then it really makes me excited to see who the other casting is going to be. And now that the freaking strike is over, I believe we're going to start getting a lot of cast announcements fairly quickly, because this movie should be going into production sometime in the next 6 months, which means, the director already let it slip that the casting's been done. We just don't know what it is. And I'm excited to find out what it's going to be, especially if you're coming out of the gate with Pedro Pascal. Guys, we want to take a second to thank a sponsor of this video, HelloFresh. With HelloFresh, you get farm-fresh, pre-portioned ingredients and seasonal recipes delivered right to your doorstep. Skip trips to the grocery store and count on HelloFresh to make home cooking easy, fun, and affordable. And that's why it's America's #1 meal kit. Guys, the holidays are right around the corner, and HelloFresh can help take the stress out of dinner by delivering everything you need to cook up tasty meals right to your door, saving you tons of time. We all know the holidays can be hectic, and that's where HelloFresh's 15-minute meals come in. These quick fixes help you get a wholesome meal on the table in less time than it takes to get delivery. I've told you guys many times before that Ann and I, being working professionals, often would struggle when it comes to dinner time, having time to put something that tastes good and is healthy for us in front of us. Well, HelloFresh, with their great delivery, pre-portioned ingredients, easy to follow instructions, has made dinner time a fun time. So go to HelloFresh.com/CampeaFree and use the code CampeaFree for breakfast for life. One breakfast item per box while subscription is active. That's free breakfast for life at HelloFresh.com/CampeaFree with the code CampeaFree. Chris, you heard about this. What do you think?
think it's wonderful. What an incredible actor. Huge body of work behind him. Even before we all saw him on Game of Thrones, he has been a working actor for ages, properly trained from the Tisch School over at NYU, has a Shakespearean background as well. He can do anything. And while a whole bunch of people are saying, I don't see him in this role, well, he hasn't done a role like this yet. So give him the opportunity. He doesn't look like Reed Richards. Okay, well, no one looks like an Elastic Man with that hair typically.
And by the way, there have been about 30 different looks of Reed Richards in the comics. So when you say, what is, you know what it reminds me of? I remember when Superman Returns was coming out and they went to Comic-Con, they were promoting the at the time, upcoming Superman Returns. And one of the fan members, one of the fans asked the director, said, you know, just curious why you changed the costume. To which the director said something really smart. He said, there have been, I think he said, 27 variations of the Superman costume in comics. So when you say change the costume, change it from what? Because there have been 27 different versions of it. So that's how I kind of see that.
The constant has been he's typically had white in his hair.
Yeah, as long as he's got a little bit of gray,
so
white and gray in the sides, we're
right?
good.
Just have that look. I think this is a really smart move, though. I think he'd do a great job. I know some people in the chat, too, were saying, I could have seen him as Doom, maybe not Reed. What I love about this, though, is that Pedro is somebody who could play both parts. And if you follow these comics, Reed breaks bad. Reed takes some
Reed has turned very bad at times.
He can take some really horrific turns. Much like how we talked about the Authority thinking that they had the authority to rule over people and control and keep the peace in a very specific way. Reed's intellect gets in the way a lot of, I know how to fix this. I'm just going to have to break a few eggs along the way. And so I think if they go through that kind of route too, you've got an actor who can handle that, who can do the heavy stuff, but also have that first family of comics kind of mentality too. We can see him being this kind of bumbling, awkward guy who really just wants to be with Sue, or maybe he already is with Sue, right? We can see him as that scientist, but we can also see him as the guy who becomes a driving force with the Illuminati. He can contain multitudes, and you need an actor who needs that, who can do that as well. And Pedro Pascal is one of those actors.
Here's a point. Like, for me, the Fantastic Four, ever since the movie was announced, I don't really care. They're just not something I'm excited for. To get an actor like Pedro Pascal, he's like one of those guys that I just like seeing on screen no matter what he's playing.
Right.
Like Patrick Wilson. If he's playing anything, I like seeing him on screen. It'll put my butt in the seat.
P. Willie?
So
P. Willie? You know, good old P. Willie?
My first choice was Matt Smith, but, you know.
Matt Smith would have been great.
If Pedro is it, fine, let's do it. Let's do it then. If that's it.
So, by the way, I hesitate to share this, but I'm going to share this.
Ooh.
Okay. And it's not going to surprise many of you. It's not going to surprise many of you. But I was on one of our episodes a couple months ago. I said, you know, when they do cast Doom, I think it's going to be somebody who's the same age as whoever they cast as Reed Richards, because traditionally their history is supposed to be they came up together, they developed a rivalry, blah, blah, blah. Well, I got contacted by someone that said, you know, you may not be particularly correct about that, Campea. Like, really? What they confirmed to me is that they have talked to Mads Mikkelsen as Doom. Now, to be clear, I'm sure they talked to a dozen people. Mm-hmm. They did not tell me Mads Mikkelsen has been cast as Doom. Not at all. But they just were able to confirm to me Mads Mikkelsen is one of the people they talked to for Doom. So I said that's not going to surprise many of you because a lot of people speculated Mads Mikkelsen is Doom. So I can just tell you that I got contacted to be told I was wrong, that they're not exclusively looking for somebody who's going to be the exact same age.
It can be lonely being wrong.
Right? It happens. It happens. As that, but man, I know it's a total typecast though, and there are many actors who would be great playing Doom, but. Man, I could so easily see Mads Mikkelsen playing Doom.
Incredible. That's a lot of Papa in one movie. Oh, yeah. If it's Pedro and Mads, there's going to be a lot of people who are like, I'm very confused about who I want to win, but I'm not mad about it.
Maybe P. Willie. Maybe P. Willie will be Johnny Storm.
Yeah. Oh,
P. Willie.
P. Willie.
Oh, wait, he'll be older, right?
P. Willie bringing the storm.
I can tell you something else.
P. Willie, baby.
Aren't they looking at Joseph Quinn for him?
I've heard that.
Yeah.
But here's the other thing that I
young
got
P.
told.
Willie.
That one of the final two is Zac Efron. No, I'm kidding about that. That one's a lie. I just
So
totally
was
made
like,
that one
I
up.
feel like that ship sailed.
I just totally made that one up. That one was a total lie. Anyway, again, I love this because like the Fantastic Four being the first family of comics, they should be like the statesmen of the superhero world. Like they should be the parents of the superhero world. They should be the mom and dad of the superhero world.
They need to have that family aspect of it like really work, because from all the movies I've never felt the closeness. Like it's felt so fabricated or like not real.
Yeah.
That's something that would bring me into being interested in this these characters, but they've never really done that for me. Like they're supposed to be the first family of Marvel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I've never, from the movies that we've seen, I've never had that bond like I feel with my family or things like that. They've never shown that.
Well,
Like-
one of the
like-
problems was like with the last one, the Miles Teller one, it was a pure origin story. So like these characters were literally just meeting each other. I really hope that they take the approach that this is not an origin story, that this is a family who has been, now that'll raise the question of where have they been for the entire existence of the MCU? Well, where have the mutants been? I mean, I don't know. They'll have to answer that question, but I'm with you, Ray, on that. I would love to see that they come into this world already being a family, having been a family for a long time, having been doing what they were doing, maybe behind the scenes a little bit, and have those family bonds.
Question is Ben. I don't know much, but is Ben Grimm the uncle? Is he the uncle?
No, he's just Reed's like best friend,
Oh,
like kind
okay,
of protector
okay.
dude.
I could see them de-aging Hank Pym again and doing a flashback, and these guys were back in the 60s or 70s, got zapped somewhere, and that's where
Yeah.
they've been.
That's what
They-
Rob and I
they've been in
talked
the
about.
quantum
was we would
realm,
love
maybe.
that of them being trapped somewhere and then
Somebody in the live
A
chat,
rat will hit a button and they'll be back.
yeah.
somebody in the live chat mentioned Brock Lesnar as Ben Grimm.
Well,
As long as he doesn't have to talk too much.
Yeah,
I
he can
can't-
just show up.
Yeah, I can't wait to see the Human Torch stuff that they do. I've always got a kick out of that, like just zooming through up in the sky. You know what I mean? It's up in the sky, baby.
Up in the sky.
You see me
Let's
up in the
go
sky.
up.
There's
Yeah.
the t-shirt. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching this video. Make sure you like the video, leave a comment, and subscribe to our channel. And don't forget, we have a daily podcast called the John Campea Show podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or your favorite podcasting app of choice. Go and subscribe to it today so it'll be there when you need it.